Rachel Dolezal used to run the Spokane, Washington chapter of the NAACP, the legendary civil rights group chartered to support Black Americans. But Dolezal isn't Black. She just identifies as Black.
Are you African American?
Rachel Dolezal is an extreme and egregious case of cultural appropriation. Dolezal declares herself to be a Black female after her career as the NAACP president because she claims to identify with Black culture. She acknowledges that she was born white but now asserts herself as African American. She even attempts to maintain the look by darkening her skin and wearing dreadlocks. Although cases to this extreme do not exist on campus, it is important to address the recurrent societal issue of cultural appropriation because of the negative impact it has on the historically oppressed and marginalized. Our group set out to highlight Deerfield students' understanding of different aspects of cultural appropriation, such as what it is, why it happens, and how it happens. The following is a response to those questions.
Appropriation, I feel like, is when someone from another culture indulges in someone else's culture and claims it as their own.
Yeah, I agree. Just certain aspects of one's culture and another group, trying to put a twist on it possibly, but like not just like calling it their own, yes, but also just claiming it as the other one when they don't understand the true complexities of it.
I think cultural appropriation means making light of cultural attributes and properties of specific cultures, not necessarily making fun or stereotyping even, but not acknowledging the significance of attributes of a certain culture.
I think cultural appropriation means that when there are things that are of a culture, sometimes people take things of that culture and they try and make it their own, or they try and sort of adopt it without acknowledging like what is behind sort of the idea, the ideology of something, of another culture's music, dance, food, life.
Like taking aspects of like another like culture, like group of people, like aspect, like things that's like very unique to them, and kind of like taking it like one without credit and maybe like misusing it or not using it in the way it was like created or for the purpose it was created for.
I think cultural appropriation is the exploitation and the capturing of elements of one's culture from a minority and taken by the dominant culture, you know, and it's made into something different. It's made into something that isn't as valued or appreciated.
For the most part, music.
At dances, like doing certain dance from like different cultures and like that.
The food. An example would be like when the dining hall tries to make Caribbean food. Exactly.
It's tough.
Just like they think that they understand it, but they really don't. Like I applaud them for trying to be diverse and include a lot of people. But it's just like they don't do it well, and like they think they are, but it's just not really working for them. Thanks.
So certainly there's the music.
It depends on like the situation, I'd say, for the most part. Generally I don't like it. It makes me feel uncomfortable because I feel like that's another aspect of my culture that they really don't understand, and like they feel like can never fully ever understand, just because like they themselves are not Black, or they themselves are not a person of color. Like they won't understand like what the struggle is and how it affects like who we are as a people. So I think just like that word being used so casually in song and then playing it, like it changes like the weight of the word and how important it is, and I feel like it belittles like how the word affected us as a people, and also belittles like how much they can learn from it, because they're not learning anything. They just like glaze over it. Like I feel like that word then becomes a word like it's just an article, people just use it.
Normally I'm like okay, as long as they don't like say it, then I get kind of freaked.
Personally, I feel like connected with them because I feel that we listen to the same music, so I feel like we could probably like talk.
Because it's cool, I think. I think a lot of people see, I mean, I walk around all the time and you hear people, white people, blasting music that's clearly about the black experience. And, you know, it seems, it's really funny. America seems a lot of times so obsessed right now with black culture. I mean, I get it, it's sick, but it's really strange to me how people can be so obsessed with black culture and then be so racist at the same time. It's I think people aren't so conscious of what they're consuming.
I mean, I don't want to speak for anyone, but like, I feel like a lot of the time that like people will see something and think like, oh, that's awesome, or like that's kind of cool, and then kind of like take it. I don't know.
I think it happens because we live in a place that's so diverse, and sort of that like melting pot of things that all sort of get mushed together, but people forget to sort of take a step back and like look at where things come from, and they forget about the history of things that happen. So they just focus on like what's happening in the present and sort of meshing everything together, but they forget about the past.
So I think it comes down to that, people not really understanding the history behind what they're consuming, or kind of just following what is cool, you know, being Das Man, just kind of living your life as part of the group.
I think that non-people of color should maybe educate themselves on certain topics they may not be familiar with on this campus, or things that don't pertain to them outside of Deerfield, so that they are, they don't offend people when they're here.
I think it's to be aware, like be aware of the things you do, because maybe if a white person goes around like whipping, dancing, whatever, doing the nay-nay, whatever, the shoot, people think it's funny or whatever and laugh at it, but then if a black kid does it, like it's kind of looked at differently, and like it seems more serious in that sense, because black people are supposed to know how to dance.
Oh, he's ghetto, he's obnoxious,
yeah,
that type of thing, right?
So it's just like when you do, and like it's not even the biggest thing. It's not the biggest deal. But it's just like just be aware of that and just notice like what you're doing and like the effect of it.
Yeah, I agree with that.
How it be for someone else.
I agree with that fully. I feel like a big part is it's like knowing the power of words and like watching what you say. Like for example, I know some stories of like when black girls like left before break with their natural hair and they came back after having it relaxed. Like some of the white girls on the hall were like, wow, that like what happened to your hair? Like that's so cool. Like how'd you do that?
Can I touch it?
Exactly, like that type of thing. It's just like they're asking questions that are like, it's like they're just not aware.
I mean,
of,
like it's like genuine interest. It's usually like genuine interest, but it's like at the same time, kind
like
of
their words, like
try and be aware, like
exactly,
like try and be culturally competent and know what you're asking before you ask.
I think at Deerfield, one of the most remarkable things, or the most remarkable thing, is the people you will encounter. That they are your most valuable resource, and also the largest source of angst and anxiety at Deerfield. So I think one thing I wasn't prepared for was the diversity of people here, and by diversity I don't mean just people of color, but the diversity of life experiences, the unimaginable wealth by some of your classmates, the unimaginable privilege some kids enjoy, and really reconciling that with the incredible stories kids have from all over the world, from all over the country, from all different walks of life. I wasn't ready for such a disparate community. My community back home, or my school back home that I've been at since kindergarten, was more or less homogenous. It was a private school in Philadelphia, and sure we had diversity of race and we had kids in financial aid, but it was nowhere close to diversity I've come to enjoy and embrace here at Deerfield